Another post-fight recap right here on the Double RT Boxing Show, the Ready Talk Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr.A. Right back on this motherfucking platform, talking that boxing. Now, over the last month, definitely the WBA featherweight is making some surprising noise. Can't really say too surprising considering Eduardo Ramirez is number 3, I believe. Now, I knew Brian Garcia was entering the fight, but I wasn't, like I said, a lot of fights I missed this week for breakdown predictions. I wasn't sure who Brian was fighting. Was it originally Garcia versus Garcia? Was he supposed to fight Hector Garcia, number 2? But they're saying Eduardo Ramirez filled in about a week and a half notice, or a short week notice. Now, this is the second time in the year and a half of the show creation, Mr.A and us has covered Eduardo Ramirez. I'm familiar with him from the Shelby performance. And this, even though he won, it's the same performance. He was starting off slow, picked it up, did good, moving, punching, but then he started getting picked apart. Now, he knocked Brian, he stopped him due to a referee stoppage, but during like I said, he was winning the fight, but he started to give away the rounds, and then it got to the point where on the scorecards, he gave away the fight. And like I say, he was moving and landing cleaner shots, but they just wasn't. What's the saying? They're far too much in between, whatever. And the pressure of Brian was just looking like he's doing more. And then when he had throw these awkward, unpredictable timing straight rights, and they were just cracking Eduardo's head back. So like that, his shots plus the pressure were the head turning shots, but Eduardo was landing effective shots, like clean shots, but just not too many of them with the pressure. But like when Eduardo just caught Brian coming in with a nice out of town uppercut, right hand uppercut from a mile away, and just buckled his legs, sent him zombie dancing to the side, and he just flurried him up with combinations, beat him all around the ring. But Brian was high guard and defending himself pretty well, not throwing shit back. But was that stoppage too soon? It's a very tough one because in real time you see Brian was blocking a lot. But you know, at any given moment, if one of these punches lands, some shit could happen. You have that on the factor. But then you watch it in the replay, you see Brian's fucking ducking and his eyes are fucking big as fuck. He's blocking, he's ducking, hoping for his life he could survive. But when the referee is running over to stop it, you could see Brian looking at the ref like, no, don't come. So it's a tough call. Like I said, you knew if one of those punches landed, he was probably gonna get fucked up. He was wobbled, but you saw, like I said, it's a replay. We have the benefit of seeing a replay, and you see him the slow motion time how his eyes go from Eduardo punching him. Then he looks at the ref like, no, don't you bring your ass over here. I'm trying to defend myself. And he's like, no. So he's very aware of what is happening. Even though he's on dumb street, he was very aware of what was happening. Like I said, I think most of us play some high school sports. Some of us play football. And in a football practice, you get a nice hard hit. You get those you get that nice noise in your helmet and shit. We know what's happening. We're just like, fuck, that shit hurts. You hear that noise and shit. Like, fuck, the homeboy hit me hard. All right, yeah, okay, lining up again. You lining up. So he was sitting there, he was defending himself. It's a tough one to call. Was that stoppage too soon? I say, me personally as a ref, I probably would have let him get cracked one time. Like, I would need to see some type of body motion, like maybe a shoulder, maybe a legs go numb, or not numb, but like damn numb. He's fucked up. Maybe he gets hit and his body reacts like maybe his arms drop, his guard just drops a little bit real quick. Maybe he loses a step. Maybe his head snaps back. I would need to see something. I would have let, as a ref, I would have let him get hit one or two more times. But then again, those one or two more hits could have fucked him up. So it's a tough one. But Eduardo Ramirez came back. Like I said, he was officially losing all the cards. I had him win like the first 3 rounds. And then with the pressure and awkward, unpredictable rhythm of punches of Bryant, he started losing. And that right hand out of nowhere, just straight down the pipe, was fucking Eduardo up. Like I said, now he came back. He won. He won the WBA gold. Puts him in line to fight the the world champion, Cantu. So you got Eduardo making noise at number 3. You got number 11 doing the upset last month over Genesis Cervantes, Carlos Castro. So the WBA is making noise, at least the WBA's featherweights. You got Shakur Stevenson. He's going to be fighting. He has a good fight coming up. Is it Diaz? Christopher Diaz. That's a fucking nice step up right there, and that's a WBA fight. It's probably gonna be a WBO because Shakur's over the WBO, but he's still ranked in the WBA at number 6. So they're making some. You got Mike Conlon coming up pretty soon. See where they go. But me personally, I would definitely want to see Ramirez take on Cantu. I like Cantu. It's funny that he's the regular champion and Leo Santa Cruz is the super champion. They're almost like just the mirror image of fighting styles. Cantu is the Chinese version of Leo Santa Cruz, or Leo Santa Cruz is the Mexican version of Cantu. The way I say it, but we'll see where Eduardo Ramirez goes. This is what upsets do. They just put a fork in, and now this Eduardo's walking around with a gold title. Got himself a nice fat paycheck, ready to fight Cantu. The featherweights, one WBA, gonna have a nice little it's not really a unify, but it's a knockoff. You know, Cantu is gonna be a title eliminator. Cantu, the regular champ, the world champion, is gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen with the gold. It just. I don't know, WBA, I don't know what they do with the gold. They treat it like an interim. You get this and you get your shot. You just climb up. You keep climbing up to the title, I guess. The Double RT Boxing Show. You got to work your way up to 2 champions become super champion. A lot of fighting for the fighters, I guess. The Double RT Boxing Show. I'm your host, Mr. A, on the Ready to Talk Boxing Show. Eduardo Ramirez comes in at number 3. We can have notice and defeats number 1. Thanks for tuning in.